Hello everyone. So last night at 10:30 p.m. I finished my 60-day water fast. I have to say that, and as I was doing the videos before starting the water fast, you can hear all of it, but it was, I wasn't expecting 60 days. I remember my first water fast was 50 days. And then the second and third were, I think, 41 and 42 days. And during the 41 and 42 days, I was thinking to myself how crazy I was the first time that I did it for 50 days. Then I did another one which was 51. Then a short one which was 8 days. The last one was 53 days. And now it turned out to be 60. I think that about halfway through, as I was calculating how many days I was expecting to do it based on, because I have this chart, and so based on the starting weight I had, I calculated how long it's going to take me to, like how many days it was going to take. And when I saw that it's nearing Easter, I thought that I might do it. Now, when I say when I think I might do it, I never know how long I'm going to do it, because I just do it as long as I feel good. If I don't feel well, then I stop immediately. And when I was doing it the 53 days, the last 6 days, I felt amazing. In fact, for those of you who watch my videos, I felt the last 6 days of my previous water fast, I was, I felt that I was in something that I call flow. I described it in the previous videos. And when I finished the 53-day water fast, I said to myself that I had to repeat it. So this one was very interesting water fast, because I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's the universe, if you're religious, if it's God, I have no idea. But every time I do a water fast, I always say that each water fast is always better than the other one, because somehow each water fast brings something into my life that when I finish the water fast, it absolutely changes my life. So, and you know it from the videos I showed prior to starting the water fast. Every time the water fast starts, I feel like a little kid. That's I remember when let's say I saw the first when I was a little kid, I saw Star Wars, right, and I loved it. And then when I went to see the next episode, I couldn't wait. I was just looking forward to it, excited, because I knew I loved the first one, and and the second one was even better. The Empire Strikes Back. And then so when I went to see Return of the Jedi Part 3, again, I was looking forward to it. That even though I couldn't imagine that it could be as good or even better than let's say the previous episodes, I knew it was going to be great, and it was. And that's exactly the same thing that's happening to me with the water fast. So when the water fast starts, I feel that I'm just gonna live my routine days, just like when I don't do fasting. But during the fasting period, somehow it's not affecting me only from a point of view of my body that I lose weight. It's not only affecting me from the point of view that I work with the taste and the cravings, and I work on these meditation techniques that I presented in the previous videos. Of course, all the links to everything you can find in the description to this video. And also, before I continue with the the details from the 7th water fast, and before I'll describe to you what kind of food I have here, because I think that it's what I have here is a sample of I would say an extremely unique diet that I've discovered during this 7th water fast. So so before I get to all of that, let me just tell you the so I do these exercises to work with the mind. You can compare them to a different type of meditation, where you use the food or the let's say the feelings that you have during the fasting. You use them as means of having, I call it super meditation, because it's really intensive. So what I'm trying to say is that during your everyday life, if you look at your life, and I mean your life, let's not look at it that then okay. So when you have your regular life, it doesn't happen every day. For example, that you get promoted. It doesn't happen every day that you close a big deal. It doesn't happen every day that a new opportunity comes to your life. So, but it also works the other way. It doesn't happen every day that someone dies in your life. It doesn't happen every day that someone close to you is extremely sick, gets extremely sick. It doesn't happen to you. It doesn't happen every day that someone is robbed. In other words, you have your regular life events that are just happening, and every now and then something great happens or something negative happens. But of course, and that's how life goes. But what I found is that during fasting, this intensifies. So more things happen during fasting than when you don't fast. Now, why that is, I don't know. But I have a suspicion, which I will describe later on, because I think that right now, after I have a sip of morning coffee, I will tell you what food I prepared. You already know, as I said, that it's a very special diet. I think it might be a diet that I've never heard of. And this is part of that diet that I have never heard of. Maybe you have, but I will describe it later. So let me have a sip of coffee. And now let's discuss what I have. So over here, I have prepared regular fresh spinach leaves. And of course, this is not my first food, because I already tried this about half an hour ago when I was doing a live cast on my Facebook profile. So I tried everything a little bit, but that doesn't matter. So here, spinach leaf. It's a plain spinach leaf, but after 60 days of not eating, wow, it's great. So over here, I have, the camera doesn't focus, but these are oven roasted Brussels sprouts. I love them. They're just so good. Well, here I have a little plate with salt. So I have spinach leaves, I have Brussels sprouts, and over here I have proteins. Now there are only two types of proteins here, and these two types of proteins are both processed in two ways. So this is this is a mealworm, and this is a superworm. This is oven roasted superworm. This is oven roasted mealworm. This is plain boiled mealworm. And let me show them all of you. So this is boiled superworm. This is boiled mealworm. They're much smaller. Superworm is more meaty. This is the oven roasted mealworm, and this is the again oven roasted superworm. So let me make a little bite here. I'll add a little bit of salt. And when I roast them in the oven, on the tray I put the baking paper, and I put on a bit of olive oil, and then I do them, I think I did them at 145 degrees Celsius. I know it's about 280 Fahrenheit. And I do them for about, I think an hour. After about 45 minutes, I every now and then open the oven and test them how crispy they are. Now, when you don't eat for 60 days, one thing that I found out, because I never heard about it, it's not only that you are hungry and or people think that you are hungry or you feel like tasting something, but also if you don't eat for 40, 50, 60 days, then also your jaw muscles, not that they become weak, but they don't chew anything. So when you eat your first food, it also feels nice to chew finally something. So I'll add the Brussels sprout, and let me show you this special bite. Yeah, that doesn't focus, sorry. So let's have it. Wow. So that's another thing. When you don't eat for such long time, right now the taste is good, but I would say it's not, I think logically, it's not, Michelin quality food. But even though it's not Michelin quality, the body is so happy that it's eating, that it's sending these surges of happiness, and you feel like you're eating the best food, even though logically it's not the best food. So it's a very interesting feeling. So let me have also a bite of these. Let me let me eat these guys. Let me have a bite of these guys. So that's my next bite. So these are super worms. So they're a little bit, they have exoskeleton, which is made out of I don't know if it's in Czech language is pronounced chitin. I think in English it's pronounced kitten. And so they have this skeleton outside made out of chitin, and then which is actually beneficial for your body. And then inside, that's where the meaty part is. So with the superworm, it's like a little, little crust shell. Feels really comfortable, and then inside it feels like you have liver, or what feels like liver. So I don't know if it's just added few leaves for the color. No. Yeah. So now we understand. What I prepared are green vegetables that do not have carbohydrates, and I have insect, and insect is considered to be superfood. Now, what does it mean, superfood? Superfood means that it contains all the essential nutrients that you need. The amino acids, the omega-3 acids, it's all packed in one. So the way I got to it, when I finished my first water fast, I check on the internet, that you should start with, fruits, avocados, juice, take it slow. And so that's what I did. But as I dove into fasting more, I found out that that it's all about carbohydrates. And I realized that when you finish fasting, the reason you have to take it slow, start eating, because you actually transforming again into carbohydrate diet. In carbohydrate diet, processing carbohydrates and glucose, I think it's much harder on the human metabolism than if you don't eat carbohydrates. So I tried, and I would even say that this is sort of like one of my discoveries, that when you start water fasting, the first week is actually very hard, because you have cravings and addiction to sugars and carbohydrates. And a lot of people give up the first 7 days. So one day I found out, and I think it's just my contribution to the fasting world, that if, let's say, 2 weeks prior to beginning fasting, if for the 2 weeks you eat a no carb diet, you actually turn into ketogenesis before you start fasting, which means that there is a big chance that the first week will be much easier because your body already adapted to ketogenesis. And this also led me even more to think about it. And obviously, just so you know, the carbohydrates came to our diet when we discovered farming, because carbs come, you know, from farming. So up to 10,000 years ago, we didn't eat carbohydrates, and we only ate fat, proteins, and green vegetables, because we were just moving from place to place to place. So I thought to myself, let's say 100,000 years ago, George was hunting and couldn't catch anything. And then 30, 40, 50 days later, George finally was able to catch food. I hunted down whatever. Logically, I had to eat it right away, because in evolution there's big competition. There's no time to, you know, catch food and then wait and take it slowly. I have to eat it and continue hunting. If I have to wait for a week or two before I eat the meat, because for 50 days I did not eat, it doesn't make sense. So after my third water fast, I always eat no carb food after I finished fasting. And this water fast, I wanted to again eat no carbs, but this time, instead of chicken or beef or pork or whatever I always eat, I have insect, and I want to try it out. So I have mealworms, then superworms, and then green vegetables. Now, the reason I have insect is that last year I recorded a series. It was in the Czech language, which was called Insect 2021. You can find it on this YouTube channel. And basically, and you can even check it out even though you don't speak Czech, because I'll tell you about the visuals that you can see there. So in the first video of the series, I talked about insect, but not from a point of view, yeah, let's eat insect. But I talk about it from a point of view that it's a strategic food. Because right now, you probably know that you know, farming animals and creating meat, it's like almost at capacity, right? It's more people, they consume more meat, there's less land, so it's harder to. The oven roasted superworms are really good. You have to add a little bit of salt. So, and now, regardless what's happening in Ukraine, Russia, and inflation, you know, last year this was the theme that I was talking about. In order to produce meat, you have to feed the animals. They always also have to eat proteins. So one of the components that you give them is it's called fish flour, and you feed them fish flour, but of course it's in the oceans, and maybe from wherever you're watching, you know, you have a lot of fish, But here in the Czech Republic, where we have no sea, we don't have a lot of fish. So we have to import the fish flour to add in our agriculture to feed the animals. But of course now, because of the environmental issues that we have, there's less and less fish in the water, in the sea. And not only that, it also costs more money to for the fish to be in the ocean, to arrive to a Czech cow. So the strategic thing to do, and France is actually doing this already. They got and this is what I was shooting last year, so let's say several years ago, they got from European Union an investment worth $3 billion euros, 3 billion euros, to build giant insect farms, because it's a strategic commodity, because in the near future farmers will need a way to get protein into the animals. The fish flour will be too expensive or non-existent, and then this is then the insect flour is the one that you can add to animals. So the series wasn't about promoting eating insect, but it was about insect being a strategic commodity of the future. So in the series, when you check it out, the first part is exactly what I just told you. That yes, it's a superfood. Yes, it mentions in the Bible. Now I don't remember the exact chapters, but they're in the video, where I think it was in the book Exodus, where God gives Moses the rules that he should tell the Jewish people that they should follow. And one is, sorry, I had a feeling that he was waving at me with one of his 6 hands, or he was saying, "I'll kick you," with one of his 6 feet. So even in the Bible it says that you should eat crickets. It's fine. So one part is the video, the first part of the Insect 2021 series is that it's interesting why people hate or some of them have blocked to eat insect. And the second half was about the insect flour for farmers. That was part 1. So visually not interesting if you don't speak Czech. But in the second part, I traveled across Czech Republic, and I visited the biggest insect plant in the Czech Republic that we have. It produces, I think, about 50 tons of insect each year. And there you can see that, even though we speak Czech, you can see how the worms are produced. So that was the second part of the series. Then the third part was me visiting a business where they buy. So in the first part, I said, look, it's interesting that we have a blog, even though it says, it states in the Bible we should eat it. It has all, all the vitamins, minerals, the essential acids for the human body. and it's also a strategic commodity. Let's go out there and see what's happening. So in the second part, I go to the biggest producer of worms. In the third part, I visit a company that from the first company buys worms, then dries them. So they actually take these. This is what they make. So they take the mealworm, they dry him, they put him into little sacks and add, let's say salt, curry, what else? Garlic. So they do these different flavors. And then they sell them. Then, I think in part 4, I visited a guy in a food festival who cooks little meals for people there. So visually you can see how he does it. And then I visited, I did an interview with our Ministry of Agriculture to find out if they are doing anything with regards to the insect flower. I found out that they're not doing anything and that they are waiting for the private sector to make the initiative, which reminded me, how that these hopeless people, our representatives in the government, sit there, waiting for us. It's like, for the past 3.5 billion years, viruses exist on our planet. For the past 3.5 billion years, these viruses mutate. For the past 3.5 billion years, there is a war between immune systems of various organisms and viruses that try to penetrate this immune system. Skip a little bit forward. In 1994, I think, I saw the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, which is basically about a virus that the outer coating is just like with the coronavirus that we have, but inside there is not flu, but Ebola. And I remember in the movie there was a scene that people are in the movie theater that I was watching this movie. I was watching on the screen a scene where there are people sitting in the theater, and one of them laughs or one of them coughs. That's the infected one. And then the camera is flying with the little capillary as it's flying, through the air within the theater. And then someone in the theater laughs or whatever they do, and they inhale the virus. And then 3 hours later, their eyes bleed and they die. Now, when I was watching this in 1994, and I think then the movie also starts with the quote of a Nobel Prize winner who says that the biggest threat for human domination on planet Earth is a virus. Now, so when I heard that quote for the first time in my life in 1994 during the movie, when I watched the movie, when I was walking out of the theater, and back then I used to live in Toronto, Canada, I thought to myself, this is so great that I don't have to. This is so great that Hollywood shot this movie because that means that the whole world knows that this issue exists and we are all prepared for it. But then 2 years ago, the worldwide pandemic started, and I realized that no one, no state was ready for it. You know, I was surprised that it was completely normal for every government to implement a lockdown. But I never heard during any lockdowns that there would be a government who prior to locking people down, would calculate how long can people be locked down and live from their savings before the whole thing collapses. Because, how many people have that much money that they can afford not to work for 2 years and live off their savings? And because this never happened in any government, it's obvious that the people who represent us all over the world, they don't care. Now, of course, they say that they care, but if they cared, the first day that they were voted into their position, they would call up whoever they would call up and say, what are the biggest threats to my nation? Okay, army threats, migration, a mutated virus can come. Farming issues. And for each area, I think that a serious political representative, you have to have analysis of the threats to the group that you represent in order to come up with strategies if something goes wrong, that you have a plan right away. And I'm just surprised. How come already in the 90s, it was in, or since the 90s, all the governments, like we do things about global warming, but we don't do anything about, mutated viruses. So, and that's exactly the point where I got to when I was shooting the series about insect last year. That I wanted to visit the government representatives and find out what if they are even thinking about this. And of course, I found out at the Ministry of Agriculture that no one cares. They're just waiting for someone to tell them what to do, but there's no initiative. So then I contacted all the political parties we have in the Czech government, or we had last year. And each party I contacted with a request for an interview. And I said, hey, I would like to do an interview with someone in your political party who is aspiring to be the Ministry of Agriculture, and I would like to ask them about how they view insect and the insect flower as a strategic commodity, because I even envisioned that it would be great to build these big farms here in the Czech Republic, and not only to produce the insect flower for our farmers, but also to export it. So I found out there was no interest from the parties to even do the interview. In the end, I met with one congressman officially. The interview is also published on this YouTube channel, and basically he told me the same thing as the girl at the Ministry of Agriculture, and that is, it's sort of like, yeah, we are too busy to keep paying attention to these things, so we are waiting for the private sector to come up with it. Which reminds me of a nice analogy. I don't know if it would work in your country, but certainly in all the countries that I see, including the States, Canada, here in Europe, I feel like a passenger on a Titanic, right? So imagine that the price ticket to be on Titanic is the taxes that you pay, the entertainment that you are experiencing on Titanic, That's like your everyday life. Going to work, going to school, going to school. So you know that from the taxes that you pay, from the ticket that you pay, the staff on Titanic is taking care of you. And they are doing everything to make your life enjoyable. And because you can see that they're trying to be professional, it would never occur to you that there is no one paid from the money that you paid for the ticket. Like no one from the crew who with their binoculars are looking in front of the ship to make sure that there is no iceberg. Well, that's exactly the same thing with today's politics. It would have never. I was shocked that, you know, it's like when in the winter it all of a sudden starts snowing and the government is surprised and they're not ready to shovel the snow, even though they know that November, December always snow always comes, so they should be ready. So I was surprised that there were no plans. No one calculated how long can people be locked down. And when I did the series about insect, I found out that people don't care at all. So there's this super community from which you can feed the animals. You can develop it locally. To develop it, it doesn't cost anything. Yet no one cares. Yeah. So as I said, this is my first food after 60 days of not eating. The fast was amazing. Many interesting things happened to me, and the most important one is that I think I went much deeper and longer into the flow as I was describing it in the previous videos. I think that the 6th water fast, it was 6 days, and when I started this water fast, I think the last third I was just in the flow. And because you're in the flow, it attracts and increases the frequency of good things happening in your life. And it's not noticeable. At first, you're just doing water fast. At first, you are just practicing. You are just practicing not to be involved in the present moment, but to just be in the present moment. And the exercises I described, because as I said, this is not just simple water fast, this is Entrypoint Waterfast. Also, I just realized that I left check titles for the cast, but I'm sure that you understand that Entrypoint Waterfast Roman 7 means Entrypoint Waterfast 7. And první jídlo po 60 dnech in red below it means first food after 60 days. So I'm sure all of you will manage. So I think that I really work on the exercises, which led for me to switching into the flow much faster. What I was surprised about, when I say, because I didn't really like when, I always was afraid that, imagine that there's someone who's called a guru. And this guru just, he's in the flow. So he's, he always smiles, he's like this. But he doesn't pay his bills, he doesn't take care of his family. So in the end, he's in the bliss, he's in the flow, but his house is being executed, and kids have nothing to eat. But he's happy, he's going with the flow. So that's the flow that I don't care about. When I say that I'm in the flow, I want to see results. I want to see new deals closed. I want to see new ideas that appear in my life. I want to see more money make. I want to see new relationships. I want to see new opportunities. I want the external world to tell me, oh my God, George, how do you do it that you are so productive and you're generating so many great ideas and great results. So that's what I call flow, and that's what I got into, and that's what I was practicing during the 7th water fast, and that's what I actually achieved. So just from the 16th day, I feel like I'm just going on a miracle path, and it's amazing. So that was very special, this water fast. But even more than that, 2 huge projects have just appeared. Now, one, I did a video about, I think there's also again link below this video. I called it Discovery 2020. I did it in Czech and also in English. And it's the one about how you can kill cancer cells. And I thought it was a big discovery, because all my life I keep hearing how cancer is a evil bad thing. And then I come up with a way how you can get rid of cancer and kill cancer cells. And it feels like, no one cares. But anyway, for me it's a big thing, so I did this video. And to my surprise, I thought it was going to be the only one. But in 2021, I did a video how to, I did it in the Czech language only, how to get rid of diabetes. And because I discovered a way how to get rid of diabetes. And this year, during this 7th water fast, I found something which I think would be a discovery of 2022. A huge one. But this I will publish, I think, within a month or two, because I have to research it thoroughly. Yeah. So during the 7th water fast, certainly what was different, the flow. Certainly what was different, that because I stayed longer in the flow, I had more results. Part of it is that I came up with these 2 big projects, and they're so big that they're actually, like, one of them is if the hypothesis that I have, if it confirms, then it will involve every person in this planet. Crazy, I'm saying it. Yeah. So this 7th water fast was very interesting, and now there's a big part, which is that everything I learned during this 60-day fasting period, now I want to implement it in my life. And of course, I don't call it water fast, but Entrypoint Waterfast, because it's the reason I can do fasting is because I have virtue glasses called Entrypoint Philosophy, and that's my approach to life that I live by the past 3 years. Now, I always thought that, like, because I found it myself, these principles. But all this time I was thinking to myself, yeah, but there are real principles that exist. I just discovered them. So there's probably a matter of time that other people will find them too. And yes, right now, I think entry point philosophy is very close to analytical idealism. So you can Google it out. So now I will, I already have I have videos here with entry point philosophy. I think there's 2 videos. So I'll be talking more about this philosophy because when I see in the area of, let's say, health and feeding, I find that this philosophy completely changed my life in this area. And everything that I found through this philosophy in the area of health and feeding and food, diets, is just huge. So that's why I publish it. And now I'm gonna, for the next probably several weeks, I will start posting videos about this philosophy again. Because I would look at it that the entry point philosophy is a tool on how to view or approach reality around us. And Entrypoint Waterfast is something that I'm showing you that I have built by using the tool. Entrypoint Waterfast is something that I have carved out of the reality using the tool of entry point philosophy. So I'll be talking more about entry point philosophy because I'm really excited about certain areas where this philosophy can be applied and what it can bring us. And as a little taste, let me tell you that I really feel strong that one area that I should because I took the entry point philosophy, and it's sort of logical. So where do you apply it first? Well, let's apply it first to health and feeding. Why? Well, because I want to be in the best condition to approach with the philosophy more, other areas. So we got to health. So now the next area I will be concentrating on is, and it's the most important skill in today's world, and that is how to quickly learn a new skill so that the new skill, or so that now how long can you let me phrase it better. So the most important skill is to be able to acquire a new skill as soon as possible, but acquire it on a level that others will pay you for applying the skill. And that's what I will concentrate on, because as you all noticed, right now we entered a period in our lives where we have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going to be in the future. And B, the whole areas of business can disappear from one day to the other. Restaurant business, taxi business, you know it, you know them all. Well, if I work in a restaurant and all restaurants are closed down, just like as might happen this fall, Then of course, you know, if I can close myself for a weekend and internet, and on Monday I can wake up and let's say I'm gonna make it extreme, and I would know how to code in Java. Then of course immediately after the weekend I can apply for jobs where they need a Java developer. But the person working in the restaurant that was locked down, probably after the weekend cannot apply for a job of a Java developer. They have to apply for something that they can do. And learning a new skill is a skill that should be taught right away from kindergarten, because as you can see, and not only see but experience in your lives, we live in a world that's faster and faster. Things are changing faster and faster. In fact, it doesn't even make sense that you study, finish school when you're 20 something, and then, you know, you are set for the next 50 years. No, you have to learn and study every week, every month. You have to acquire new skills, because this thing is going so fast and everything is developing for so fast that if you just stop for a second, the train will just leave. And also there are big turns and disasters coming, and the better you are in applying and learning and acquiring new skills on a level that you can actually charge people for using this new skill that you acquired, then that way, you know, you have a much better future than if you are not working on yourself. So this is something I will most likely do. I will take the instrument of entry point philosophy and try to apply it in the area of learning new skills and see what I find. And I think with this, that's it. So I finished my 7th waterfast. I should say 7th entry point waterfast, because it was full of the meditation techniques that I was describing in the other videos. Links are below the stream. Sorry for the Czech language, but I'm sure you understand what it says. Here I had the insect, spinach, and Brussels sprouts, coffee, water, salt, and see you soon. Also, I know that some of you started with me in the beginning, so I would love to hear from you how many days you did. Also, please share this video and this information, because I feel that everyone should know about it. Everyone should understand that inside of us is this this thing that we all have, which is that when you don't eat and drink water only, it has a great effect on your body. And hopefully I'll see you in another video or in another series. Bye bye, and good luck.